Yo, what's good? It's the one and only, and we're reporting live right here from Gallery DeFi in Dallas, Texas. I'm joined here today by the one, the only, the legend, one of the greatest to ever do it, the Trill OG, my man, Bun B. How are you doing today?
What's up, baby?
Man, how you doing today, man?
I'm all right, Lorenzo, man. I'm good.
Let me start off by wishing you a happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I gotta give you a big congratulations. You just had a huge event a few weeks ago, the Houston Rodeo, massive success.
Yes.
Want to talk a little bit about it? Man, how does it feel, man? Just to be in front of 71,000 people.
No, 73.
Oh,
Yeah,
73,000.
well, who's counting? Yeah. But no, man, look, it's far and away the biggest professional moment of my life. And in many ways, one of the biggest personal moments in my life as well, because performing at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo is not just doing a concert. I do concerts all the time. I do shows all the time. This is not that. This is very singular because of how long it's been going on. This year was the 90th anniversary. And then with it being the first time that in the 90-year history of happening in Houston, Texas, there has never been a black man from Houston to headline.
Wow.
So this was the first time that had ever happened. And because of that, I wanted to put as many representations of the communities of Houston of color involved with the show as much as possible. So we had, of course, black people on the show. We also had white people on the show. We had Latinas at the show. We had Johnny Dang representing for the Asians at the show. We had young people. We had old people, men, women. You know what I'm saying? I wanted my stage to reflect what the stands look like. You know what I'm saying? And so the night I perform on is Black Heritage Day. And it's the day that we celebrate Black heritage and acknowledge Black history and the achievements of Black people. But I didn't want people to not feel like if you weren't Black, you weren't welcome.
Yeah.
That's never been what Black Heritage Day is about. The idea of having a Black Heritage Day is about embracing diversity, right? And so being a member of the Black community who felt for many years as if the rodeo did not do enough to actually embrace us at the rodeo, it's important to let people know that that's not what we're not asking for Black Heritage Day so that only Black people can come and be together. No, we want everyone to be able to come and celebrate Black heritage with us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If there's ways that we can educate people about Black heritage and Black history, we want to do that on that day as well. But we don't want to just say, no, if you're not Black, you're not welcome today.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Today, if any day, is the day that everybody's welcome.
And I want to speak to that real quick because I ran into Baby Bash last week.
Yes.
And Baby Bash was telling me that you complimented him because he did a song with Frankie J at the rodeo, and obviously me being Mexican American, it meant a lot for me to see our race represented there. And he said it went crazy, and that you made it a point to let him know that it was deafening when these guys went up. And these guys, just like yourself, you know, it's a big moment to be in Houston, 73,000 people. So I kind of wanted to speak to that because I know that moment meant a lot to Bash from when I spoke to him.
Bash is a longtime friend of mine. And even though we don't really do a lot of music together and we don't really do a lot of performances together, we have a very genuine friendship. Bash is a very humble dude. You know what I'm saying? He's a good, genuine person. He has an amazing energy, right? He's got an amazing outlook on life. He's always positive. You know what I'm saying? If Bash is going through something, I wouldn't know. You know what I'm saying? Because he's always upbeat and positive. But I also know that he and Frankie are great representatives of their culture.
Absolutely.
And I didn't assume that they would say something in Spanish, but I was maybe counting on it. Yeah. And so Bash says when he and Frankie gets up to the stairs, right, and they look out in the crowd, and it's, again, 73,000 people, Bash says they're like, holy shit, there's a lot of Mexicans in here today. He was like, yo, we should speak Spanish when we come out. So they came out, and I don't want to like mess up what they said, but I know the last word was Latina, and that fucking place went crazy. And the reality is in Houston, and it probably goes for all of Texas, if you have a product or you present something to the public, 9 times out of 10, Mexican Americans are going to be not only your biggest customer base, but also your most consistent customer base. You know what I'm saying? That's just math. That's just basic math. And to not acknowledge that when we're talking about hip hop, look, if you make Houston rap music, nobody buys more of your music than Mexicans. No one comes to your shows more than Mexicans. No one buys more of your merch more than Mexicans play your music. It's a numbers thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's important that we acknowledge their participation and their love of the culture. So I wanted to make sure that when Houston hip hop was on that stage at the rodeo, that a Mexican American could look at that stage and see themselves on that stage too.
Man, that means so much to so many of us. And for me to hear you say that means a lot, because it's coming from you for one, but I know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure you guys know that. And I'm sure most people will never really admit that. You know? But that it's impossible as an entertainer in Houston to not see that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I was very proud that not only did I have representatives of your culture there, but they recognized in the space, in the moment, let's talk to our people right now, you know?
Well, and it means a lot to me for you to give not only them guys that moment, but so many guys that have been deserving, that have been working so hard for so many years, that moment to be in that arena, in that space. And I guess it brings me to the next question, because you've said it. Hey, I've been touring for years. I've been hitting the road for years.
Yes.
You know, I've been doing everything you could think of, every club
30
imaginable.
years this year.
30 years, an unprecedented run, by the way. Is it safe to say that now being in a space like that, having that moment, like, not so much can you go back to that, but I guess the best way to word it is yesterday's price still, you know?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Is it no longer today's price?
We are definitely moving different after this now. And look, the reality is that, you know, there was a power that we always had collectively in Houston's hip hop culture. And I feel like everybody's price is a little different that touched that stage.
For sure.
Because there's always strength in numbers. And we showed a united front unlike anything hip hop has ever seen before. You know, this was not about having #1 artists or top charted artists or anything. The last hit record out of all the people on that stage was International Players Anthem. That's 2007. That's 15 years ago. The last time anybody that was on that stage had a #1 record, right? Because everyone on that stage, with the exception of maybe Lele and Toby, because of how new they are, right? But everybody else on that stage has had a #1 record in the state of Texas.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? And so we wanted to show that, you know, yes, we acknowledge New York. Yes, we acknowledge LA, Atlanta, and everywhere else. But our culture just hits different.
For sure.
It hits different. We don't have to be current for Houston to love us. Houston loves us because we represent them consistently, year after year after year after year. And we're out here representing their culture. So they don't care if our last hit record was last week or last year or the last decade. We're repping for the city. They come out, they support, they uplift, and they keep us going.
So, yesterday's price is no longer today's price.
Nope.
Just to get that out the way.
It is not.
Before we get off of this, though, and before we move on, I spoke to you on the way over here, and I was letting you know that Chamillionaire.
Yes.
So Chamillionaire had posted on Instagram that it takes an underground king essentially to get him out of the cave that he's in.
It was literally when we booked this, and after my wife suggested that we do local artists, right? Houston artists, and celebrate the city as part of the performance, as opposed to just me getting up there and just running around and doing me all day, right? I wanted to create something bigger than me, bigger than the rodeo itself, right? I wanted to celebrate Houston in its all of its beauty, right? All of its grandeur. And so I was like, well, who's gonna be the one person out of everybody that's ever really represented Houston's hip hop scene on the highest level that would probably have something better to do that day? It's Chamillionaire. Yeah. Quite frankly, Chamillionaire does not have to go out and perform anymore. You know what I'm saying? And typically doesn't. Now, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I called him when I first booked it in October, and he was like, I can't see that far. So give me a call a little bit closer to the rodeo. And so I hit him back in like mid-January We're in the middle of Omicron now. So he's like, look, I want to come. But I can't afford to get sick, right? Because I lose days, I lose time, I lose money, you know? I was like, look, we'll have a sprinter pick you up, put you in a sprinter, bring you to the show, right? Sprinter will drive you up to the stage, you get out, go up, do your verse, come back, get in the sprinter, and go wherever you want to go from there. Yeah. He was like, all right, that might work. But then once Omicron died down, and we got to, the beginning of March, and we started to get closer, he was like, hey, I'm coming. I'm going to come in pretty early. I'm going to make sure I'm at sound check. And, he was a lot more relaxed about it. Sound check was interesting because, he hadn't really been on, the stage in Houston in, I want to say, 15 years.
Wow.
And so, but he still got it, right? But I saw his face when he walked out there, when they played that music and they fucking saw him, man, and he snapped right back into it, man. And it was amazing to gift that to the city because Chameleon Air probably had the biggest commercial success of any single from Houston. Riding Dirty was a huge record. It was a huge ringtone, right? It was the introduction of this whole digital era of MP3s and all of that. And there was a lot of success that came from that. And just being a part of that new tech wave was something that lit a fire into him, and he just kind of went there with it, right? But just to have him on that stage doing a record that Houstonians hadn't seen him do in so long, man, it was beautiful. They were shocked because Chameleon Air was the one artist that wasn't promoted.
Yeah, he was a surprise.
Chameleon Air was a surprise.
And the beauty of that was that, like I mentioned to you, was that he was online saying that it takes an underground king to get him out. And obviously now he's committed to doing my show that I'm doing on August 6th. So we're the only two that could lay claim that has gotten committed out of the game.
Look, I would love, and I think I speak for everybody out there that's ever been and is a Chameleon Air fan. We would love for him to get back out and do more shows. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody had to do it, it was probably going to be us.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying?
We're in an exclusive club right now.
That's right, baby.
Hey, well, you know what? I guess, so the rodeo, it was comparable to the Super Bowl in a sense.
No,
in terms
a little bit.
A little bit, because I was seeing the tweets. I was seeing the tweets. They were like, yo, this was like a Super Bowl-esque.
Well, it's Super Bowl-esque, but there's two differences between the rodeo and the Super Bowl, right? So if you buy a ticket to the Super Bowl, you get the concert for free.
Yeah.
But you have to pay to see my concert at the rodeo.
Yeah.
Now, you can go to the rodeo, go to the petting zoo, go to the carnival, eat the food, tour the grounds and all of that, but you got to buy the ticket to get into the rodeo. The other thing is, well, there's three things, right? So the second thing is that even if you buy a ticket to the Super Bowl, they don't sell every seat in the Super Bowl. Almost half of the tickets at the Super Bowl are corporate comps.
True.
So let's say if SoFi holds 70,000 people, then at the most they only sold maybe 36,000 tickets. But let's say 50. Let's be generous. Let's say 50,000 tickets, right? Cool. We did 73,000, and the Super Bowl halftime show is only 15 minutes, right? And there are people that go to the Super Bowl that really don't even care for the halftime show.
That's true.
Right? Like, they get the game back on. You know what I'm saying? Whereas everybody came to my show, bought a ticket to see me perform. It's not like you buy a ticket to the rodeo and get the concert for free. You know what I'm saying? You have to buy a ticket to the concert. So me and my H-Town collective, my H-Town takeover, we did a 1-hour concert with 16 different artists on stage, right? A 1-hour show, and sold 73,000 tickets to that show. So it's the Super Bowl is a little bit kind of what we did, but not really. But I got a lot of love for Dr. Dre, Snoop, Mary J, Eminem, 50 Cent. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of love and respect for them. And it was beautiful to watch them represent that on such a large stage, because the Super Bowl is an international event that billions of people get to watch. And it was so beautiful that hip hop was what the world got to see that day.
Absolutely. Well, I guess I was just going based off of social media.
Yeah, I'm just making fun, man. We all win, right?
For sure.
When Bumby gets to do the rodeo after 90 years, I win, right? And the people win. When Dr. Dre and his collective get to do the Super Bowl, they win, we win. The
Absolutely.
culture wins. You know what I'm saying?
Speak-
And we all got a big check. So everybody got a bag, so it's dope.
Well, let me move on to the next thing, which is I want to know if there's been any progress made. You know, I've asked you this on more than one occasion. Versus, you know, I noticed that when 3 6 Mafia, Bone Thugs and Harmony went at each other, you had everybody, did not see you there, you
Yes.
know, on the record that you have with 3 6 Mafia. I expected, maybe I heard around the way that there was a reason why you weren't there. Maybe it's building towards something bigger. Has there been any developments in regards to UGK versus whoever it may be on Versus? Is that something you could speak on? Is that something that you care to speak on?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So the reason that I wasn't at the Bone versus 3 6 Mafia Versus was that I had already previously committed to perform in Miami during Art Basel. So one thing about me that anybody knows, if I make a commitment, I'm gonna try to honor it. You know what I'm saying? Getting to this interview today was pretty difficult, right? And we tried to see if there were other ways around it. We realized there were no other ways around it. And so we honored our commitment.
For sure.
You know, we had a rough day. We had a lot of family stuff going on. But at the end of the day, my wife understands, like I understand, that we are only as good as our word. So we have a commitment. If it's possible for us to honor it, we will. And that's kind of what we're doing here, you know? And so it's really just about the right time. I actually, this is crazy that you asked this question. I actually text Swizz yesterday because I saw there's like a big lineup that they put up, Versus put up this week of, it's like maybe 6 or 7 different upcoming Verses. I think there's a label Versus, right? Like for the first time, 2 labels are gonna battle. There's a Juneteenth special, all of these different things that are happening. And so I sent them an emoji of me waving, right? And I said, hey, you know, we're still here in case you guys need us for anything.
Yeah. For sure.
And Swizz hit me back within, I'd say 6-7 minutes. And he was like, UGK versus A-Ball and MJG vibes? Let's go.
Oh, wow.
So it is definitely official, and it always has been.
Yeah.
There was a couple of times previously where we were looking to be slotted. The first weekend that we were supposed to go, the George Floyd incident happened, and that's when they put the gospel Versus together. The second time we were slated to be next up, they ended up doing the Patti LaBelle, Gladys Knight, and then after that, it was the Isley Brothers, Earth, Wind, and Fire, right? I defer on all grounds, on all sides to that. Every single one of those were at least 100 times more important than mine. We can always do Bun B and A-Ball and MJG, but these things were pivotal cultural moments in the world, right? So I'm good with that. I'm good with that. And so we went on and we both had other things that we had to do. But I think this is a great summer. It's a great time. The weather's beautiful.
The stock is up too.
Yeah,
You know
man,
what I mean?
and the numbers are up. And I think it's a great time for the world to see UGK versus A-Ball and MJG.
Hopefully it's a neutral
in
grounds
versus
too.
battle. Well, that's what I said. My wife was like, where are y'all gonna do it? I was like, it's gotta be somewhere neutral. It can't be in Houston. I get home field advantage. It can't be in Memphis. They get home field advantage. So it's probably gonna have to be, you know, an Atlanta, a Birmingham, or somewhere like that. You know what I'm saying? Birmingham to me would be an amazing place to do something like Versus, something so big for the culture. Never goes to a community like that, but at the same time, I know that there's a certain level of presentation that goes into Versus and the way that they do it, and they're under new ownership now. So there's a lot of different people that have to be considered when they present it, but I'll be very honest, man. It don't matter where they do UGK versus A-Ball and MJG. The people are going to really have an amazing night. There is no ill will, bad blood, beef, or any of that. We are friends for at least 30 years now. We talk to each other all the time. Now, we're going to try to win. Both sides are going to try to win, right? But it's going to be fun. Like, Ball, G, and I genuinely like each other, genuinely get along, right? We see each other all the time, right? We smoke, we laugh, we crack jokes, all that shit. So our verses should have like some amazing energy. And we're
Absolutely.
gonna hit y'all with the work too. That's the other thing. And that's gonna create a lot of energy. Like we're gonna have a real fucking fun time.
A celebration, man.
Yes,
A
absolutely.
celebration.
Because there's no competition between UGK and 8 Ball MJG. It was always, if anything, friendly competition, right? But never like, okay, I see what y'all did here. You know, no, man, we actually enjoyed watching them grow in the culture. I believe they enjoyed watching us grow in the culture. And 30 years later, we're all still here, save for my brother Pimp, right? But our music and our movements are still here, right? They still connect with people. We're still appreciated. We still profit off of it, you know? And we, like I said, we just genuinely enjoy still doing this shit because the people still enjoy seeing it. So I
Absolutely.
think this versus is, I think we'll be one of the most highest rated verses because I think while we both share a lot of the same audience, there's a different kind of energy and emotion in the music that we both make,
Yeah, for
right? Like
sure.
we really talk to the people and we really pull on heartstrings and address real shit that most people look down on, have to live with, and deal with every day and try to build a family and make a living and get through life.
And I believe it's long overdue, and we're excited. Can't wait to see it.
Yes.
Definitely want to talk about Pimp here in 1 second, but one thing about this show, the name of the show is called Nothing Beats Experience.
Yes.
And we focus on experience. To me, you being widely considered the trilogy, the super triple OG, someone that a lot of people really admire and look up to, I want to get some real life advice from you, some advice that I think would resonate with a lot of creatives that are out there that are pursuing their dreams. You talk about your wife throughout the interview. I know that she plays a big part in your career and in your life. How important is it having a personal and professional balance? Because I think a lot of times with artists and creatives that get in any field, just being able to balance it out and ensuring that the foundation of your personal life is intact and it's solid. How important is it to have that intact? Because I always feel like without that, everything else falls apart.
No, I mean, you couldn't really say it any better, Lorenzo. It is the single most important thing for an entertainer, right? Is the ability to be able to be who you need to be out in public amongst the people in order to provide for your family and provide for the people that help you provide for your family. And then when you get back home, be able to leave all of this idolatry, this fanaticism, right? You know, people jocking you, whatever you want to call it. You got to leave all that shit away from the house and go home and still be a husband, a father, a friend, a partner, all of these things. That's really but the reality is that you have to want that too. Right? So you can go out and be an entertainer and then go home and try to be a family man as well. But if that's not really where your heart is, then slowly but surely your work life is going to find its way into your home and you're going to start to expect the people in your house to treat you like the people outside in the world treat you. And that's when things start to fall apart. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't want on a daily, hourly basis, people fawning over you, right? That's not a real sense of reality. That's not the world that most people live in, right? Now, when you're at work and there's a person that people are expecting to see, by all means, be who you need to be, right? But remember why you're doing this, right? First of all, there are people and we're famous and we all have, people that like us and whatever, but it's not about us. None of this is really about us, right? Because yeah, we have a few people that really love what we do and how we represent, but we're all, for the most part, interchangeable, right? The same people that learn to love me can and will learn to love other people. And I may be their favorite today, maybe even tomorrow, but there will probably become a moment when I am not their favorite anymore, right? But at home, you're always going to be number one. Your dad. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Your honey, hubby, whatever you want to call it, And if you're providing a good quality of life for your family, giving your children the best opportunity to thrive in this world, giving your wife everything she needs to make sure your home is safe, sound, and secure and taken care of, right? Leave all that other shit behind, right? Because that's the sweet spot. That's the sweet spot. Eventually, the feeling that you get on stage, the more you do it, you either want it more or want it less, right? And you look at the biggest performers, they will go out and they'll do a huge tour. And sometimes that tour may last 6, 8, 12 months. You know, if it's a world tour, maybe even 16, 18 months. And then you don't see these people for years, right? Because it takes so much out of them and it takes so much away from the family dynamic that once they get back to it, they almost don't want to go back to work.
That's true.
This is why it's so hard to get Beyonce music now. Beyonce actually prefers being a mother and a wife to an entertainer. Now, in her younger years, yes, there was a lot of fulfillment in chasing her dream, right? Growing in her career, becoming one of the most famous people ever to be born on this planet. But then she fell in love. And that actually felt better than everything else she had been doing. They got married and had a child. It gave her more purpose and a deeper fulfillment than the music ever did. And so now it's like, Beyonce don't want to sing no more. She doesn't need to sing anymore, first of all. She doesn't ever have to make a song again.
Yep.
Right? Because she's as rich as she could be, and her husband's twice as rich as her. Right? But she actually loves what she does, and I'm sure she will eventually come back and make music for us. But right now, as far as fulfillment, right? True fulfillment, a real reason to get up out of the bed in the morning, it's no longer the music. And at a certain point in your life, it shouldn't be.
You know, and I think that, by the way, that's great advice. You know, I feel as human beings at times we have the tendency to be arrogant. Arrogant in the sense that we always feel that we have time, right? Oh, this isn't the right time, or time. But the truth is nothing's promised from one day to the next. So living in the moment and capitalizing off every moment you have is very important. And so, you know, I appreciate you sharing that wisdom because, you know, I've met a lot of creatives I've met and I meet to this day a lot of creatives that just don't feel that they can balance a personal relationship and a career.
Right.
And I feel like you've been one of the people that I've known that's been able to do it and that does it successfully. You travel with your wife, you always have her in consideration, and that's big for me to see that. So
look, it's not perfect, right? You can have the perfect life and you and your wife just wake up on the wrong side of the bed, right? That's just human nature. You know what I'm saying? So every time that Queenie and I are out on the road and we're traveling and doing these different things, it's not all grapes. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's not us me sitting back and Queenie feeding me grapes, right? Because life happens. That was a big part of why we almost couldn't make it here today. Life happened. You know what I'm saying? We had some family fires we had to put out, like everybody does. You know what I'm saying? And it's not easy all the time. You know, there are many times where I leave and Queenie doesn't come. She's concerned about me on the road. You know, I'm concerned about her at home. But the reality of it is that the line of communication you have with your life partner is the most essential thing you have in keeping the relationship intact. It's super important for Queenie to tell me when she doesn't feel like she's being heard. She doesn't feel like she's being seen. Like she doesn't feel like she's having her say in certain things. Because in a lot of times with my career, I'm the rapper. I'm the one with the music experience. So I feel like I'm the one that's supposed to make all the music decisions, right? And even if Queenie does give input, I may still go with what I decide to do. But then certain instances may come up, well, she was like, you know, I did kind of say, you know, something like that. I'm like, well, I don't know about, you know, there's certain things that were like, it's like, you know what? I spoke in that space and I wasn't heard and I wasn't acknowledged in that space. And I don't feel that's fair. I don't think that's right. And there's certain times where I may say, well, I don't think you had the experience on what we were talking about to speak on that. And then other times it may be like, you know what? You're absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? You should have spoken on that because you see it from this perspective. So it's not all black and white. There are a lot of nuances that come into play in order for a relationship to sustain itself in everyday 9 to 5 working class life, right? You put entertainment, like I said, idolatry, concert, stage, everyone fawning, people grabbing at you for your attention in the middle of that, a lot of money, a lot of travel, a lot of different people's opinions on things. And that can really complicate a relationship if we don't make sure that there's a consistent line of communication. And so as I get older, regardless of what I'm doing, entertainment, all of that, I don't necessarily want the opinions of those that are already in there that are doing it, because they may just see things systemically, right, and cyclically, and they're just, look, this is what we do, and we just repeat it, wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat. That's what works for us. Sometimes it's good to have an outsider in the room with an alternative view, an alternative outlooks on things, you know what I'm saying? And that's where Queenie comes in. Queenie is absolutely a muse of mine, right? Sparks of inspiration consistently fly out of her mouth, you know what I'm saying? And when we're at our best, we take, if not her direction, her thoughts into consideration. But there is so much of what we do on the music side, on the public speaking side, on the charity side, all of these different community initiatives that we're a part of. Many, if not all of these things would not happen if Queenie was not there making sure that we did right by the people that do right by us.
Thank you for letting us in. I appreciate that.
No problem.
And I think, I hope people take from that, because that's something that's very important and something that needs to be heard, because a lot of time within, these interviews, nobody likes to talk about that side of the business, or it's not even business, that side of just life in general. So I appreciate you. Talked about Pimp, talked about the rodeo. There was a dressing room that you had that you posted on Instagram that you dedicated to Pimp C. I've asked you this on numerous occasions, but I want to bring it back. How important is it for you as a group member, as a friend, and as a brother to continue to keep Pimp C's legacy alive?
I can't even just say it's important. It's gonna happen, right? Like, it's not something that we gotta, every top of the year, all right, let's make sure we're, make sure we're doing something about Pimp. No, that's involuntary at this point. It's like breathing. You know what I'm saying? I am always going to take him into consideration for these things. And there's so many different things I do throughout the day where I think about it. People think it's the music and the concerts. No, it's everyday things. You see a new car, you see a new style of house, right? You see a brand new hotel, and all these kind of things. You be like, yo, Pimp would have killed that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Those little things, like, more about his nature, right? Those are the things that I kind of miss. His laugh, his joking. Like, he would have looked at a lot of things now and found them very, very humorous. And you know what I'm saying? And he, of course, would have probably spoken on those things. But no, I mean, it's just something that's there at this point. We don't really operate without taking some of those things into consideration. The people we move with, how we choose to align ourselves, different brands, you know what I'm saying? Just where, and particularly with the UGK brand, like, you don't really see a lot of merch, like, I'm not really trying to use UGK as a cash cow more than anything. Like, I'm trying to protect it, I'm trying to protect the integrity of the brand, So I'm just not out here selling a bunch of T-shirts and shit all the time.
Yeah.
All that. And I know people want that stuff. And I consider doing different things, but at the end of the day, I don't even know if that's the best way to do justice. As far as his likeness, that's, his family has every right to do that. And anyone else that's not his family has no right to do that. And I know a lot of people feel like they honor him with T-shirts and hats and candles and air fresheners and all of that, but you're really just trying to bleed and leech off of his legacy. If you're not giving anything to his family, you're trying to leech off his legacy. And if the man was alive, he would have pulled up on you, and you know that shit. So everybody that's out here thinking that they showing love and they repping the city and all that shit, you can do all that shit, but just don't put that man face on no T-shirts. Don't put that man face on nothing. You don't see me out here doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? You ain't giving that man family no money, so don't do that shit. I really hadn't talked about that, but I'm starting to see more and more of it. I'm really getting bothered by it. You know what I'm saying? Because we rep the South, and we didn't take anybody's intellectual properties illegally. If we sample somebody's music, they got paid. So if y'all gonna sample that man likeness, his artwork, his music, or his lyrics, pay that man family.
That's true.
Just pay that man family. Not me. Don't call me talking about you want to give me a t-shirt with Pimp on. I don't want no goddamn t-shirt with Chad on it. If I wanted a t-shirt with Chad, I can have it made. I don't need you to give it to me because you think I'm gonna post it so you can sell a bunch of it to keep all the money and act like you really did something for that man. You ain't do shit for that man. Go on with that. Moving on.
We're gonna wrap up with this one. That was a good, no, but solid point. I wanted to wrap up with this. I know that we've talked, and you know, I'm not implying that there's an expiration date with your career in any sense, because you just had the highest of highs happen recently. You've mentioned to me that no one expects the Rolling Stones to retire anytime soon, and it's foreign territory. It's new territory for hip hop, because we've never seen hip hop go into, like, we've never seen artists go past a certain point, or, you know, it's still relatively new.
Right.
So for you personally, within music, what else do you want to do? What else is there to do? Like, I mean, just do you want to continue to perform it for as long as you can continue to perform? Or is there other ventures such as Trill Burgers and things like that that you eventually want to start putting your hand into and start going, you know what, love music, I'll always be Bun, I'm always going to do this, but on my time?
Yeah, no, I mean, and we've been operating like that for a while now, Lorenzo. Like, we're not really just putting out albums after albums after albums and all of that type of stuff. Like, I feel like my musical legacy is secure, right? Like, I don't have to make another album to prove how good I can rap or any of that type of shit, right? So I'm in a beautiful space now where I make music because I want to, not because I have to. That's been an amazing thing to get to, right? But the reality is that although I may not actually fully stop making music, stop performing and touring and anything like that, there are other places and spaces that I think I can be putting more energy into, particularly in the food space, right? I have a really, really newfound passion for food from the business side, right? Obviously, I'm a foodie. I'm a big dude. I love food. But I have a lot of friends in the food industry, and just learning the mechanisms in which they operate with and how they look at food, right? Every chef that I've ever talked to, right, about cooking and the dishes they come up with and how they plate it, they're like, these are their rhymes. These are their songs. This menu is my album, right? This is how I represent for this city. So when people come here from all around the world and want to know what good food in Houston is, I want to be one of those people on that list. In the same way that when people say what good Houston music is, you want to be that on that list. And so as far as music, I feel like I've achieved that, but food gives me a new adventure, a new path to chart.
A new challenge.
Right, absolutely, because I come in here as a beginner, full novice, you know what I'm saying, actually as an apprentice, looking up, wanting to learn, you know what I'm saying? But I'm ready to give my energy, my passion, you know what I'm saying? I want to put everything behind it because I believe in the same way that I've been able to build up a successful career, I believe I can build up successful businesses. And so Trill Burgers is the first venture. The second venture, which is actually gonna have a door before Trill Burgers, is Queenie's Soul Food Restaurant.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know? And so look, we're just trying to keep it very simple. We're not out here acting like we're 3 Michelin star people, right? I deal in comfort music, right? I don't write concertos, right? I deal in comfort music that help people get through their day. And so that's the kind of food that we want to present. We want to present comfort food that helps you get through the day in a communal space where you can meet other like-minded people. Trill Burgers allows that because 9 times out of 10, if you come to Trill Burgers, you're probably a Bun B and or UGK fan, right? So you go to Trill Burgers, you meet other people, and you're both there for the same thing, right? Man, this is dope. We're here to support Bun, which is so beautiful, right? But then there's Queenie's Soul Food. There are people that love Queenie. You'd be surprised how many of my friends will call me and I'll be talking to Queenie in the background. They'll be like, who's that Queen? What's up, Queen? And then literally, I'm out of the conversation. Nobody even wants to talk to me anymore. I do shows and promoters, like when they come to greet us, their wives are with them. And and the show that Queenie doesn't come to, the wives get so disappointed. Because they want to meet her, they want to talk to her, but also there's sisterhood because they're supportive of their men. They're there helping their men, right? And you feel me on this. So it's a sisterhood of women that are trying to do the right thing by their man because their man is trying to do the right thing by them and their family and their home. And so everybody wants to meet Queenie because if you know Bun B at this point, we're pretty much inseparable, right? If you come to the shows, you already know she's going to be in the back somewhere.
Hey, I told the doc, Queenie's coming. You got to get shit together. All the way.
Yeah. And that's true. That's another thing. When people know Queenie's coming, they take things a little bit more seriously. I ain't gonna say they pull on the suit and tie, but they somewhere along the line they're gonna church it up a little bit because Queenie's there. You know what I'm saying? But it's a beautiful thing. I am so happy to be her husband. I'm so proud of her as a person, as my wife. And there's not anywhere in the world where I wouldn't want to take her and show her off. You know what I'm saying? And I get upset because there's so many cities we've been to so often. It's just like, you know what? I just don't feel like I don't want to go to Oklahoma today. How many times can I go to Kansas City? Just bring me some barbecue back, stuff like that. But I mean, look, she's the best thing that ever happened to me. And all of the success that I have is because she is there with me, for me, and I couldn't be a more blessed man.
Salute. Trill Burgers, Coachella. Yep. You will be having a presence there?
Yes. We're starting to like this festival thing. So that's why you and me, we got to talk about your festival.
Man,
we got to try to figure that out.
Hopefully we can have you there, man.
That would be dope. It's just, hopefully I can get the brick and mortar open by June so that we'll be up and running by July so I can grab a few people and have them drive up to Dallas for the day and do the festival.
That would mean the world to me, man. It would mean the world to me because obviously you're someone that I've always respected, someone that I admire. I haven't had the opportunity to try out the Trill Burger, but if any of you guys are watching, if you're in Houston or if you see them pop up at Coachella, at my festival, at another event, make sure to stop by. He has a bet where if you don't like it, he will pay you money.
Yes. If you ever see me at a Trill Burger pop-up or once we build a brick and mortar, if you don't like my burger, I am more than happy to give you your money back. Matter of fact, I'll give you your gas money back too. That's real. That's real money. That's more than a burger.
Thank you so much for joining me today, man.
Oh, man.
It means everything. I know that there was a lot of obstacles that it took to get you here, but we're here.
We made it happen.
Salute to you. Salute to Queenie. Salute to Dr. G, who got you right and adjusted right.
Yeah, and I'm good now. What's up? Let's play some ping pong or some shit. Table tennis.
And my guys here at First Time Media for helping set up. They've been here since June. Thank you guys so much. And this is the one and only, the Trill OG, Bun B. And we're out.
Live from Gallery B.